think it's having those conversations around a cup of coffee or a pancake, and just sharing that faith with each other.
Where I work, it's a lot of people have these spiritual ideas, which is quite an easy way to kind of get talking about who Jesus is.
I had a brilliant experience of evangelism, as in evangelising myself. I went out for an Indian meal with a group of women, and the conversation came around to talking about what each of them wanted for their funerals. And of course it went around the table, and then it came to me, and it was like, rightio, Anne-Marie, this is your moment, you know. And I said, well, I don't know about you lads, but I'm going to heaven. And of course that kicked off some great conversations. And I think that's the best kind of evangelism, evangelism that's being yourself.
Just sharing it with my friends, really. And sometimes they can be quite curious about random things in the Bible, and just trying to answer their burning questions.
I was homeless only 5 weeks ago. Patty invited me to church, so that's probably her experience in evangelism as well. And also I've been walking through town recently over the past few weeks, and I've seen a few of the homeless people I used to see, and I've said to them, come to church, you know, just see how you feel after a service. I did it, and it was the best thing I've ever done in my life.
Inviting my neighbour to come to church.
I think it's quite rewarding when you ask your friends to come to church. I think for them it's not as big of a deal as it is for me, but like, because I get really scared, like, to be rejected, or for them to say no, but then when they say yeah, like, it just makes me really happy, because it's like the first step for them.
The really simple ones where you say something and then maybe a few months later someone turns around and goes, I remember you said that, and that's what got me looking into whatever it is.
I really like going and meeting people, hearing their stories, and they just say there was a change, and I'm pointing out that at that point, that's where Jesus was actually moving on your behalf.
He was a homeless gentleman, he'd been on the street, and he wanted to know why I was helping him when I got nothing out of it. So of course, to explain to him that I was getting plenty out of it, and the kingdom was getting something out of it. And he had a bit of a change in his life, and decided that from that point on, he too would do things that benefit others without benefiting himself. So he became a carer for a person with dementia and got himself off the street, and he's living a good life.
My best experience of evangelism is when I didn't really do anything apart from pray for my friend. She asked me a whole load of questions about God and faith, and ended up becoming a Christian, and that was the easiest sort of thing I've ever done, really. You can just pray for her.
My best experience was outside a shop where a lady rushed past me when we were doing some work, and I said, can I pray for you? She said, no, because I don't need prayer, I have nothing of, and then proceeded to share how full her life was and how sad her life was, and I was able to pray with her, and she walked away visibly lighter.
It can just be as simple as soon as you start a new job, mention quite early on that you're a Christian, and you'll find people are quite curious about that anyway.
We weren't so much sharing the gospel, but just offering to pray for people, and I felt like people were a lot more open to that. So even if they didn't necessarily share the same beliefs, a few people seemed really touched that people cared enough to pray for them. And so I felt like that was quite effective. And then we kind of said, oh, we're from St Matthew's, and if you wanted to come to church. And I don't know if any of them did, but I did hope that some seeds had been sown.
It's great. You know, it changed my life. And I'm hoping it could change many more people's lives for the better.